For the cheapest and fastest Madden coins on the market, check out my sponsor dvdj.com and use code SWIFT at checkout for 10% off.
So Swift family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 20 video. And in today's video, I'm giving you some tips and tricks to help build your ultimate team. Today's episode is just going to be talking about the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to be going over some kind of archetypes that I like from each position, as well as giving you some player recommendations. Now quickly, before I get into the video, everyone be sure to hit that like button. If we can hit 100 likes, I will drop a part 2 about defense, going over the defensive side of the ball. So this part is just going to be about offense. And of course, if you have any suggestions or any questions about what I talked about in today's video, leave it in the comment section. I will reply to any and all questions. And most importantly, before we get into the video, everyone hit that red subscribe button right below me. I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Now that's a very big number, and I just want to thank you guys so much for all the support on the recent videos, and let's get into this one. So what I'm going to be showing you guys is going over each position and kind of talking about who you're going to want to have, what type of player you're going to want to have, at tight end, wide receiver, slot receiver, running back, quarterback, and then some offensive line tips. So let's just get it started off with quarterback, you guys. In my personal opinion, you need to have a quarterback with some type of mobility in this game. As you can see, I have Steve Young, 91 overall. I've got him with Escape Artist, and I've got his X Factor as Gambler. As you can see, he's got 82 speed, you guys. I would recommend that you guys definitely look for someone who has Escape Artist. So that's like Steve Young has Escape Artist, Lamar Jackson has Escape Artist, and there's a few others as well. I believe that you need to have 82 speed on your card before you're able to get Escape Artist. And for those of you that don't know, Escape Artist is just going to let you run around faster inside the pocket, so you're going to be able to break sacks, as well as maybe pick up some yards. If your opponent's coming out in like a man coverage, you'll be able to pick up some nice yards. And Steve Young also has really balanced throwing stats. For those of you that are still playing with Baker Mayfield, I would recommend you guys upgrade to Steve Young. That's kind of like the next progression in my opinion. That's what I did. You could go for someone like Andrew Luck as well. That's also a pretty solid card, but I like a quarterback that has some speed, but I kind of focus on the passing stats more than the speed. They just need to have enough speed to be able to get out of the pocket. So like, I don't need a Lamar Jackson. I'd prefer Steve Young, who has a bit better throwing stats. But for those of you that really want to run, Lamar Jackson's obviously your guy. Now, as we look at my running back spots, I have Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb, and I've been waiting for forever for Saquon to get a new upgraded card. And every time I'm like, okay, maybe I'll buy Marcus Allen, or maybe I'll power up Bo Jackson. But I always think that Saquon's like on the cusp of getting a new card, so I just haven't pulled the trigger. In my opinion, you should have a better running back than Saquon by now. Saquon's really usable if you have a budget team, but my team's pretty good all around. Like, as you can see, I'm an 87, and I only have an 84 running back when running the ball is literally the meta in this year's game. Like, I really need to step up my game. Definitely you should be trying to get someone that fits your style. If you're better and you have really good stick skills, you could go for someone like Dalvin Cook, who's going to have better juking and spinning. Or if you want maybe a bit more of a power back, you could go for someone like Marcus Allen or Bo Jackson. They're going to have some good power stats. That Derrick Henry card is also really glitchy. I know Mark Ingram just got a card. That seems like a pretty good power back card. And of course, there's really good abilities you guys can put on your running back, depending on who you're going for. If you want to get evasive on your running back, like Dalvin Cook, then you're going to be able to make a bunch of good juke moves and stuff like that. Or you could get armbar on like Bo Jackson or something like that. So you really need to have a good running back. Honestly, that's probably the most important position on your offense right now, is if you have a good back. So definitely be sure to get someone better than Saquon if you have the coins. Now, just as a side note, you also do need a pretty solid RB2, because your running back, I've noticed, he gets tired relatively often in this game, and usually that wouldn't matter, except when they're tired, they're really prone to fumbling. So get yourself a nice little running back too. I have Nick Chubb. I just used my 81 overall power up pass on him because I have so many extra ones. So get yourself a backup running back. You could get Saquon as your backup, or Nick Chubb's actually a pretty solid card too. He breaks a crap ton of tackles for me. So now let's look at the wide receiver position. I'll go over kind of what I like to see in a receiver. I'll show you guys their stats as well. But the main thing that I think is important in this year's game is speed. Speed kills. Like, a wide receiver can have terrible stats other than speed, and they will be very good. Like this Tyreek Hill card, for example. 90 speed, only 79 catching and 79 catching traffic, and he will rarely drop the ball for me. He rarely drops. It kind of makes me feel like catching stats don't really matter that much in this game. It's literally all about speed. So I would get fast receivers like this Torrey Holt, really good speed. Odell's probably my most balanced receiver with only 87 speed, but other good catching stats. And I kind of like that in my wide receiver too, because for me, at least like for my sake, I'm throwing to Tyreek and Torrey Holt quite a bit. Odell, I'm kind of just throwing to on like shorter routes, it seems like, and he has to kind of get open on like some man-beating routes. So for my recommendations, I would recommend you guys definitely have your Torrey Holt all the way leveled up. I would pick up this Tyreek Hill card. He's pretty cheap, and then there's a bunch of good options you could get. Odell you can do for cheap. I did the set for him for super cheap, you guys. So Odell's a good option. I know that Julio Jones card is kind of similar to the Odell card. It's just a bit better, of course. But there's a bunch of options at wide receiver. Marvin Harrison's card's pretty solid if you want someone like that. And then there's a bunch of new legends as well. So there's a lot of options at receiver that you guys can go with. But I would be looking for speed. Speed is so important. I don't want to say the catching stats don't matter, but I rarely see my receivers drop balls. So honestly, speed, the way to go when you're looking for a wide receiver. Now, I actually just want to quickly talk about fullback, you guys. A lot of people like to run the ball, so I would recommend that you use your power-up pass on a fullback because you're going to have a bunch of 81 power-up passes. So I just grabbed Anthony Sherman. He's a pretty solid card. I mean, you need a solid fullback because especially if you want to run out of I form, you're going to want a good fullback. So let's move into tight ends here. I have George Kittle, 87, and I believe I've had him for almost all of Madden. It's time for him to get an upgrade, though. Like, I would love to see a new George Kittle card relatively soon. He has really good stats, 82 speed, 80 run block, which is crazy good, 87 catching, and then he's got some solid other statistics, nothing too crazy. And as we compare him to Delaney Walker, Delaney actually makes a bunch of great plays for me. So if you want a budget tight end, I would go for Delaney. He doesn't have great speed or anything like that, but his run block is really good, and that's really important because you're going to run the ball quite a bit in this game, especially when you have tight ends in. My tight ends, like, I don't throw to my tight ends that much. Of course, I'll throw to him on like corner routes and stuff like that. He gets pretty open on, or maybe just a check down, but I'm not throwing to my tight ends too much. So I really like that they have good run blocking stats because, I mean, that's really important if you want to pound the ball in this game. You're going to need some good run blocking stats. So I like run block and speed in the tight ends right now. Of course, anyone that's catching the ball, I want someone with good speed because that's probably the most important thing right now. So let's look at the O-line quickly, and then I'll show you guys the defense. I'll show you guys who I have on my defense, and then I'll kind of go over it in a separate video if you want to see that. So let's start looking at the tackles, because a lot of people, I would say, undervalue the offensive line. Like, I've spent some decent coin on my O-line. So as we look right here, my tackles, I'm really just concerned about pass blocking because the players that people have coming off the edge, DeMarcus Lawrence, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, Von Miller, all those cards, they can ruin the game for you because they have such good pass rushing stats. So it's important that your tackles can pass block. Of course, if they can run block, that's a bonus, but I'm just looking for pass blockers, honestly, in my tackles. As you can see, Lane Johnson, 83 pass block with some other solid pass block stats. He also has good run blocking, so that's a good card right there. And then Andrew Whitworth, I did use my power-up pass on him as he has 84 pass block, which is good, but he doesn't really have the greatest run block. I don't really mind that because, like I said, my tackles, I'm concerned about them pass blocking and not as concerned about them run blocking, so that's what I'm looking for in the tackles. Now, as we look to the interior of the offensive line here, I actually pulled this Jason Kelsey out of something I kind of forget, but he's NAT right now for me, and I really love him. Like, he has amazing run block, and he doesn't have very good pass block, but when you think about it, your center is never really going to be on a one-on-one pass block situation. He's always going to be double teaming on either side, so he's either going to be double teaming one of the defensive tackles. So he's rarely in a one-on-one pass block, so I don't mind the low pass block, and the high run block is really nice. He barely ever gets shedded on. If I'm running like inside zone out of gun, he's gonna do a really good job for me. So now let's look at my guards here. As I really like my guards, actually. I believe I have the power-up pass on both of these guys. Yeah, I believe I power-up passed on them both. So hopefully they get upgraded cards relatively soon, but they just have really good stats. Like David DeCastro, 84 pass block, 84 run block. He's really balanced, and then the same thing with Ali Marpet. He's also really balanced with 83 pass block and 85 run block. So at the guard position, there's a bunch of good options who have good stats. Neither of these cards are too expensive. If you want to go for like a higher echelon card, you can get a legend like Larry Allen, or who's the left guard from the Titans. I'm forgetting his name, but there's legends that you could go for if you want them. But In my personal opinion, these people are doing just fine, and as you can see, I've got quite a bit of coins, and I'm actually just planning on saving these. So I'll quickly go over what I like to see with a squad. Of course, a quarterback that can run and obviously has good passing stats. I love Steve Young. He plays really good. You're going to need a better running back than Saquon Barkley, in my opinion, if you want to play competitively in Weekend League and compete. There's a bunch of good Legends cards you could get. Me personally, I'm waiting for upgrades with the Mutt Heroes promo, which I believe is coming out next weekend, so stay tuned for that, or next week. At receivers, I love to have some good speed. Of course, route running is good, but speed for me is the number one. At receiver, Tyreek Hill is great. Odell is really balanced, and then Torrey Holt you get for free. The tackles, I would love some good pass blocking. The guards, I like a good balanced guard with pass block and run block. And then my center, I like a good run blocker. And then at tight end, run blocking and speed. As you can see, the common theme is I want speed across the board with people who are catching the ball, because I feel like that's honestly the most important thing right now in this game. This is my defense. I can go into it in depth more. My defense is definitely better than my offense, in my opinion. I've definitely invested more coins into the defense, so I can go over that in another video if you guys hit 100 likes on this one. And then one final thing, I also do have Coach Madden, and I have one collectible on him on the way to 2, as I have 660 trophies. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, drop a like. And if you have any suggestions for players that you think I should add to the squad, let me know in the comment section. And until next time, you guys, I'm out. Peace.